folds. King 9 suited for Frank. And he's calling. He already had 4,000 in, 10,000 to call. So it'll be ace 7 against King 9. There's a 7 for Eric.
Frank, will you speak?
Well, I think Frank's going to check and Eric's going to push in, but we'll see. I think if Frank bets, Eric's going to push in, so I don't think he can get Eric off this end now. Pot's too big.
Check.
Frank decides to check, and Eric reaches for the chips. Did he say all in? Yep, all in. All in with top pair and an ace kicker.
Well, he's in good shape. And once again, Frank head sinks into his hands.
But then he thinks it through, and he tends to make pretty good decisions, as you'd imagine, with a guy with a big chip lead at this point.
Well, Frank, if you're not going to call this, or if you're going to call this bet, why didn't you bet it yourself and just, you know?
That's the basic question to ask.
Put Eric under pressure, so there's no point in just calling it. We'll leave him with the decision. Let him think it through.
I think he'll pass in the end. Nope. Jeez, as soon as I said it, it's like he heard me and said, no, well, he calls with the King 9.
Well, he's got chances, but Eric's in great shape.
And there he sees it, and obviously he hadn't figured the ace.
Well, what could Frank think? You know,
exactly.
He's going to show him one of them cards on the flop, so, you know, he's going to be behind. He can't think that King 9 was in front.
And he's basically about a 3-to-1 underdog. And
bad decision on Frank's part, this is,
yeah,
no matter how it
this could cost him the chip lead.
Yeah, it's looking that way now. We'll see.
Well, 5 would split the pot.
So 2, it's not the 5. Eric doubles up.
Eric doubles up from Frank, drops down. This is really roller coaster stuff.
I don't know what Frank was thinking of with that one. I really don't. That was just a bad call.
Watch the reaction when he sees the cards.
But how can he must think, he can't think his hand's in front anyhow, so, you know, it's rather a surprised reaction.
Yeah, Eric had no hesitation about putting the bet in, too. He was just waiting for the check. And so Frank still in the lead, but drops down. Eric doubles up and moves just ahead of Stefan. And we keep changing positions here.
Yeah, great final, Mike. It really is. One of the best we've seen.
36 hands. Stefan folding the 5 and 7 of diamonds. Frank with the 5 and 7 of spades. And another headache. And so he gives the little blind over to Eric. And Eric was sitting on an ace 3.
Yeah, one thing that Frank doesn't possess that Eric does possess is the calmness in it all. Even when, you know, it's all going wrong, Eric just sits there and tries to work it out. Frank seems to wear his heart on his sleeve a little bit, doesn't he?
Yeah. And he hasn't been in front on a lot of hands.
We've seen Eric under pressure in his heat, in his weekly heat, and he's used to the pressure. He handles it better.
Frank's on the button this time.
Chips.
And again, 6 and 8.
Just your chips to the middle. I can reach them. Thank you.
He certainly hasn't had the big run of cards.
Yeah.
And he still has the chip lead, but he passes those. Eric, who has seen some pretty good cards, but he knows what to do with them when he gets them.
Yeah, he's going to keep the pressure on.
Does it again, 8 and 10, and he's reaching for the chips.
Ace and 10 this time.
Ace and 10. Did I say 8 and 10?
You're getting tired, Mike. Don't worry about it.
Excitement's getting to me.
It's a good final, really is. Great stuff.
Suited 9 and 4 for Stefan. 10,000 for him to call, but he folds, and he'll give that big blind over to Eric.
Eric starting to make a charge for the lead again now.
He's about 20,000, 18,000 below Frank. He's now 13,000 ahead of Stefan. And Lars Foss is still in the house.
Yeah, he's fascinated by it all. There again, his one brain cell will be fascinated.
Here they go. There's where they stand. Eric in the middle. Frank in the lead. Buttons in front of Eric. Stefan's the man at the bottom. Third level of blinds. Non-stop action. 7 and a 10. And he's going to raise it up.
Full of confidence now. 7-10 suited he's raising with.
And he ought to get past Stefan.
Fold.
And over to Frank with another 9 to 5.
Well, I think that's gone in the muck as well.
So strangely enough, although he's raising without many cards, he actually has the best hand of the three.
And look at him sitting there confidently. Frank, on the other hand, he looks under pressure, doesn't he? Strange.
He folds. And so both of the blinds, 6,000 more, go over to Eric.
It'll do his confidence a world of good as well, the young man. You'll see the other players are starting to show the signs of cracking a little bit.
But the young Norwegian from Stavanger just keeps rolling along. Indefatigable.
Indefatigable. Very good.
First to speak now will be Stefan. 39th hand. 20th hand since
Stefan first
we
to
went to
speak.
three-handed, and Stefan pocket sevens.
15.
And he's going to bring it in with a raise to 15.
Trying to protect his hand a little bit. They're not monsters, he knows it.
Frank with a king 9.
Well, Frank
Not
once
happy.
again, no, he wants to play these, I think.
It was a king 7 that got him into trouble against Eric a couple of hands ago.
He's wrestling with himself a bit now.
He's literally wrestling with himself. Look at, he's all wrapped up.
Yeah. He knows he's got to try and put a stop to it. I'm not sure this is the point he'll want to do it at. We'll see. Leave it with him.
And he lets them go. He really wanted to play them.
Yeah, he shows his emotions a bit too much, doesn't he?
Yep. And pocket 3s for Eric.
Well, this might be some confrontation. We'll see.
He's going to play them.
All in.
All in. Uh-oh.
All in.
Eric's going all in with the pocket 3s against the pocket 7s.
Well, it's a bad mistake if he gets called. But we'll see if he gets called yet.
How much does Stefan like the 7s? It's all or nothing for him to
He's
call.
called
He
him.
calls. He
Yeah.
didn't hesitate.
He's going to like him now.
Yeah, he's going to like him a lot now because he's going to be, as you can see, a 4-to-1 favorite.
That's what he is, pair over pair. And Eric's, unfortunately,
Title.
in dire straits.
Eric got caught in a play, and if he loses, he's going to wind up being short-stacked.
But whoever wins this is going to have the chip lead, I think it's safe to say.
And looking at the hands now, Frank is saying, well, that king 9 didn't look so bad, did it?
No, it didn't look so bad now.
2 over, he'd have 2 over cards to either of these two.
Counter chips. I can reach.
But I think if he'd have moved in, Eric wouldn't have moved in, so he'd have been facing his king 9 against the pocket 7s, to be honest with you.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
that's how this one would have played out. But Frank can sit and watch. He's actually hoping probably that Eric spikes a 3 and knocks Stefan out, I would think, at this point, and then he can just take one of them on.
Yeah, unlike the weekly finals, we play till there's one winner. Here at the monthly final, the one winner gets 15,000 in chips and the gold token that gets him into the grand final, which starts next week with the first semifinal of the Nordic Poker King. We've been going for 12 full months, Pete, once
Yeah.
a week.
What a great series it is, Mike.
Unbelievable, a great year of poker. And when you think of how many people have qualified online to come to this tournament, play before the TV cameras for the first time, and how well some of them have done.
Just shows what can be done. Get online and practice.
You can also go online to the Nordic Poker King website and get poker tips from the poker professor and look at his bald head in all its glory.
Thank God the flop's coming. Here it is.
Pair of queens and a 6 on the flop.
Yeah, Stefan's quite happy now. He's a huge favourite.
Man, Eric, not many outs left.
Nope, very few now, I'm afraid. That's not one of them.
Nope.
So it's looking rather dark. Eric sits impassively, though. Credit to him. You wouldn't think Stefan was in the front, would you? The way he's reacting, but here's the river.
And it's a 5, and so Stefan has doubled up, and Eric is in all kinds of trouble.
Yeah, all credit to him, though. He sits there impassively.
Eric's going to be down around 20,000 in chips once they're all counted and passed around. And Stefan has moved into the chip lead with just about half the chips on the table now in front of him.
There's the reaction at the end, and you saw Eric's reaction prior to that when he saw what he was up against.
And in fact, there's where we stand. 88,000 for Stefan, 70 for Frank, and short stack now Eric at 21,200. The blinds at 2,000 and 4,000, so Eric does have 3 rounds of play.
He was in this situation in his heat, Mike, though. He's used to it. He's used to the pressure. I think he can play his way back into it if he gets the opportunity.
This is the 40th hand. The lead has, all 3 of these players have held the lead. The button's in front of Frank Larson. And Frank has an ace-jack.
Well, we know he's going to raise. It's just a matter of how much.
Bit. $15.
Raises it up to 15.
There we go, 15 to play. Probably not the hand for Eric, or not the hand for Eric.
13 for Eric to call, and he's not going to call with that.
Chips.
And 11 for Stefan to call.
Well, not quite what he wanted to see.
Looking unlikely.
4.
So the 2 blinds, 6,000 in chips go over to Eric, to Frank. Whew.
Blinds up. 4,000, 8,000.
And you could hear the voice of Lars Foss announcing the raise of the blinds to the 4th level. 4,000 and 8,000, that's bad news for Eric, who has less than 2 rounds of play left now.
Yeah, judging how he played in his heat, though, I think if he gets 2 playable cards on the button now, he's going to push in, but we'll see.
He's going to have to, sooner
He
or
knows,
later.
he knows the case scenario now. He knows what to do.
There you see, 12,000 in blinds for each round, so Eric can't really play 2 rounds now.
No, he's got to push in now. He's not going to do. He's going to do 12,000 blinds. So if these are playable, he moves in.
He's got the button and
That'll
ace
do.
4. That'll do.
That'll have to do, Eric.
There it is, all in for Eric.
Yeah, that's the correct play. Regardless of the outcome, that is the correct play.
Thank you.
3-5 for Stefan.
Don't think Stefan can challenge him, to be honest.
19,000.
He's also got to worry about Frank sitting behind him, so he could get himself in a bit of a trap he doesn't want to be in here.
He's not going to.
Round
That's
to
all
Frank.
he can do, he
No.
says.
Well,
Frank's deuce 3.
Frank's
So,
thinking, look at this.
How much? 11.
well,
8. It's 11, 2.
Yeah,
I mean,
Frank-
all that Eric collects is the blinds if he doesn't call him. So it's not like he's letting him back into the game.
No, Frank's thinking, well, you know, I can afford to do the chips, but I'm not sure you can, Frank, really.
Call.
He's calling.
Well, okay, decided to have a go and try and eliminate his probably biggest danger. But if he doubles him up, he won't like it. Well, I don't know why you're grinning. Frank, sort of, what are you expecting to see, Frank? You've got the worst hand possible, for God's sake, man. What was he expecting to see?
Every hand
He's
in
got
poker.
deuce 3.
The only thing worse is an offsuit deuce 3.
Well, okay, so, why did he grimace? I mean, it's a strange reaction from Frank.
As it is, he's still, you know, look at it, 69-30. He's
Yeah,
not.
I mean, it's the way he
still got a
reacted.
chance.
It's the way he reacted, Mike. What was he expecting to see? Eric sits in passively.
9, Jack, and Queen. That lessens the chances for Frank. I'm still laughing about that.
That's incredible.
Pair of jacks on the board.
Well, one last chance.
Deuces or 3s.
Would be shame to lose Eric in this situation, to be honest with you. But we'll see. Cards can be cruel.
The river has been cruel.
Not
But
this
it's
time.
a 5, and so Eric doubles up,
yeah.
and Frank's got to ask himself what possessed him to call.
Well, you know, I don't know. He thought he could probably eliminate a dangerous rival, but when the cards went over, I don't understand that reaction. What was he expecting to see?
And there's Eric when
There's
he sees the
Eric.
deuce
Yeah,
3.
well,
okay.
I like this one.
Doesn't get much better than that.
Look at what you see.
And
Look
what
at
did
this.
Frank?
What was Frank expecting to see? He's got deuce 3. What was he expecting to see, for God's sake?